Hello, and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today, I'll be showing you how to cycle from Hanwell in West London to Greenford. This ride takes about 10 minutes, and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and traffic-free paths. By public transport, this is a 20-minute journey by bus door to door, so it's much quicker to cycle. It's also a really nice ride. If you find this video useful, or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on Uxbridge Road next to Hanwell Clock Tower, and we're going to go straight down Station Road. As you can see, we just passed through a bollard here, and that bollard is keeping this street nice and quiet. There's no through traffic on it, and that's because cars, vans, lorries can't pass through that traffic filter, which we were able to cycle through. And you can see there's other people making use of the street nice and quiet. This isn't officially a low traffic neighbourhood or anything like that. This is one of those filters that's been in place for a very long time, a modal filter, but it's the same principle as one of the modern low traffic neighbourhoods. We're going under this very impressive railway viaduct, and that actually carries the Great Western Main Line, which carries trains from Paddington Station out to the West Country and Cornwall. It also now carries the Elizabeth Line, aka Crossrail, services out to Reading. So if you've ever been on that out to Reading, you will ride over that viaduct. This street, Manor Court Road, is very quiet, mostly because it doesn't really go anywhere, so there's not really anywhere for through traffic to go, and as a result there are not any cars on it, and it's very nice to cycle. A quick note about the name: I thought it might be connected to Hanwell Manor, which is a historic manor, but I looked it up and apparently it's not. It's a modern name and has nothing to do with it, so there you go. But it's perfectly nice for us to cycle on. There is no traffic. The first section of this route, just coming out of Hanwell, is really all on quiet streets. So we turn left here onto Church Road, and that is named after St Mary's Church, which you'll find at the end of the road if we were to keep going all the way. That church dates back to the 12th century, but the current building on the site is actually Victorian in origin, so it's much more recent. And I think the most interesting thing about it is that it once appeared in Peep Show, where two characters were married. But we're not going to that church just now. We've turned off early to go down High Lane, and you could see from the path, from the sign at the beginning of the path, it's a shared space sign. So this is both a walking route, and you're also allowed to cycle on it. It's pretty wide. It's got a decent surface, so you can go down here on a road bike. Of course, it is shared with pedestrians, so if you see anybody else walking down here, do make sure you give them a wide berth, and be courteous to them. But for now, the only people that we're seeing on here are actually on bikes on this really lovely day. Actually, it's really pretty, and it's a nice sort of green tunnel from all the forests. So that's one thing I like about London. You often do see a lot of greenery quite close to not a centre of town, but it's certainly in an urban built-up area. There's a lot of greenery there. One downside to that road is, of course, that it didn't have any lighting on it. So if you were to do this route at night, just take that into account and make sure you've got some lights on yourself. When we come off that path, we continue down this road called High Lane, and that is also called High Lane as the path is. I presume that they have some sort of shared history, but one of them was built up and the other was just left as a path. And we're weaving now through this area, Mayfield Gardens and Bridge Avenue. And these streets are very, very quiet. They're basically a natural low traffic neighbourhood here. There isn't really any traffic here, and the reason for that is because there's not really anywhere for it to go. It's the routes are sort of contained by Brent River Park, which stops any traffic from going on. But it's permeable to us on a bike because we were able to join the streets by cycling down the paths, and that's a really nice setup. And I think I'd really like to see a lot more of that in sort of suburban areas, as you often get suburban streets linked by paths, but they're only good for walking. They're quite narrow, windy, so it's nice when you see a sort of suburban street that's linked by cyclable paths like this one here, another one. We just turned off left here. Don't miss that turning, it's quite easy to miss if you go past it. And we go down this path next to Brentside playing fields. There's playing fields on the right there, you can see the football goals. And frankly, this path needs a real resurface. You can see it is half for cycles, half for pedestrians. The surface is really, really bumpy, and when they do resurface it, they should also cut back some of the vegetation and maybe widen it by a couple of feet, because there's no reason for it not to be a little bit wider and more comfortable, and it's a useful cycle route. We're going on to Ruislip Road East here, and you can see we went across the Toucan crossing there. That's a crossing for bikes and pedestrians, and we go onto this very wide shared pavement on the other side, which is well used by cyclists. You can see there's the blue shared space sign. We just passed on the left there as well a joint cycle zebra crossing, so you could use that if you wanted to. Now, I don't normally like using shared pavements. They're not great, but if you're going to use one, this is basically how you would do it. It's very wide, it's flat across the junctions and across side roads, and the surface is good, so it's fine just for that short bit. And we've already turned off it, and we've gone onto Clifton Road. This street is one way for cars, but it's two way for bikes, so that keeps it reasonably quiet. It's not super quiet, it's not filtered or anything like that, but it works for us. And here we are. We turned up on Greenford Road. That was incredibly quick, wasn't it? You'd still be waiting for the bus if you were getting the bus, and to be honest, you'd probably still be driving if you drove, because you wouldn't be able to cut through those playing fields. I thanks very much for watching that, and it's a bit of a short one this week after the mammoth session to Wanstead last week. Do make sure you go back and watch that. It's a great ride, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you get notified for new videos. And of course, you can download a map of this route in a link in the description, which is underneath the video on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching that, guys, and I will see you again next time.